Hi, good evening viewers. I'm Rashika and you're watching the news live at 9 p.m. on Sansad Television. We get you detailed stories in fields of politics, sports, business and much more across the nation and the globe. Let's begin with today's headlines. Cheetahs return to India after 7 decades. Prime Minister releases first batch from Namibia in Kuno National Park. Prime Minister unveils national logistics policy, says it will address transport sector challenges and speed up last mile delivery. India and Singapore to enhance mutual partnership in new and emerging areas. Ministerial roundtable discusses financial sector and investment opportunities. Commerce Ministry approves settlement of trade deals in rupee currency. Special Vostro accounts will be required for billing and payment of import-export deals. China blocks proposal to blacklist Pakistani terrorist Sajid Mir. Mir was the mastermind of 26/11 Mumbai terror attack. Let's begin with the important news of the day. President Draupadi Murmu leaves for London to attend the state funeral of Queen Elizabeth II. Ministry of Road Transport and Highways allows Aadhaar authentication for 58 services like obtaining driving license and vehicle registration. Finance Ministry calls for macroeconomic vigilance for sustainable growth, cautious that geopolitical tensions over energy security may increase in winter. Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman urges banks to appoint staff who can speak the local language. Prime Minister Modi turns 72. President, Vice President, Lok Sabha Speaker, leaders of various parties and dignitaries extend best wishes. E-auction of gifts presented to Prime Minister Modi begins. Over 1,200 souvenirs put up for auction. US ratifies International Solar Alliance Agreement, hands over letter of acceptance. 17 people killed in landslide triggered by heavy rains in western Nepal. Ukrainian President Zelensky to address high-level session of UN General Assembly next week. Over 100 countries including India vote in favor of allowing it. International Grandmasters Chess Tournament to be held in Raipur from September 19th. Over 500 players from 15 countries including India and Russia to take part. And in our top story, the wait is finally over. The cheetah has returned to India after 7 decades. Prime Minister Narendra Modi released these majestic cats in a special enclosure in the Kuno National Park in Madhya Pradesh. These cheetahs have been brought from Namibia to be reintroduced in India under Project Cheetah, which is the world's first intercontinental large wild carnivore translocation project. Take a look.
The cheetah is back in India after 70 years. 8 radio-collared African cheetahs made a historic journey spanning 8,000 kilometers from Namibia to India. They finally stepped out onto the sprawling grassland of Kuno National Park in Madhya Pradesh on Saturday, which is the new home of the world's fastest land animal. Prime Minister Narendra Modi released these majestic cats into a special enclosure, which is 10 kilometers wide at the Kuno National Park on his 72nd birthday. He also clicked some photographs of these spotted animals on a professional camera as the cheetahs scanned their new surroundings on emerging from their cages.
कूनो नेशनल पार्क में जब चीता फिर से दौड़ेंगे तो यहाँ का ग्रासलैंड इकोसिस्टम फिर से रिस्टोर होगा, बायोडायवर्सिटी और बढ़ेगी। आने वाले दिनों में यहाँ इको टूरिज्म भी बढ़ेगा।
5 female and 3 male cheetahs were brought to Gwalior from Namibia in a modified Boeing aircraft on Saturday morning as part of Project Cheetah. This is the world's first intercontinental large wild carnivore translocation project. From Gwalior, the spotted animals were flown to Palpur near the Kuno National Park in 2 Indian Air Force helicopters.
आज ये चीते मेहमान बनकर आए हैं, इस क्षेत्र से अनजान है। कूनो नेशनल पार्क को ये चीते अपना घर बना पाए, इसके लिए हमें इन चीतों को भी कुछ महीने का समय देना होगा। अंतर्राष्ट्रीय गाइडलाइंस पर चलते हुए भारत इन चीतों को बसाने की पूरी कोशिश कर रहा है। हमें अपने प्रयासों को विफल नहीं होने देना है।
The high-profile project is the first time wild cheetahs have been moved across continents to be released. After their acclimatization, the cats will be released to run through 5,000 square kilometers of forest in grassland, sharing the landscape with leopards, sloth bears and striped hyenas.
Any such reintroductions have to be supported with lot of management action. So this is not, you can't leave the cheetah and then expect them to do well. So constantly they'll have to be protected.
Another 12 cheetahs are expected to join next month from South Africa. Cheetahs were once widespread in India and became extinct in 1952 from hunting and loss of habitat. In July 2020, India and Namibia signed a pact agreeing to participate in Project Cheetah, aiming to reintroduce the animal in India. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
Now, news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi unveiled the national logistic policy in the national capital today. The policy seeks to address challenges facing the transport sector and bring down the logistic cost of businesses significantly. At the grand launch event, the Prime Minister said the policy aims to expedite the last mile delivery, helping businesses save time and money. Prime Minister Modi said that together with the PM Gati Shakti, the new policy will take the country towards a new work culture. He stressed that the aim is to bring down the logistic cost of single digit from the present 13 to 14%. He also added that the notion that India is emerging as a manufacturing hub is stabilizing in the mind of the world.
आज लॉन्च हुई नेशनल लॉजिस्टिक पॉलिसी, मुझे पक्का विश्वास है देश के जीवन के हर क्षेत्र में एक नई गति लाने में मदद करने वाली है। और पॉलिसी प्लस परफॉर्मेंस इज इक्वल टू प्रोग्रेस।
The Prime Minister reiterated that schemes like Sagarmala, Bharatmala, dedicated freight corridors have helped improve logistics connectivity for systematic infrastructure development. Prime Minister Modi pointed out that the PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan will support the national logistic policy in all earnest.
जो नेशनल लॉजिस्टिक पॉलिसी को सबसे ज्यादा सपोर्ट अगर किसी से मिलने वाला है तो वो है पीएम गति शक्ति नेशनल मास्टर प्लान। मुझे खुशी है कि आज देश के सभी राज्य और केंद्र शासित हमारी इकाइयां सब के सब इससे जुड़ चुके हैं।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that in the last 8 years, the government has helped in every way to empower self-help groups. Addressing the Women's Self-Help Groups Conference in Karahal in Madhya Pradesh, Prime Minister Modi stated that more than 8 crore women across the country are associated with this campaign today. He further said that a huge difference between the India of the last century and the new India of this century has taken place as a representation of Nari Shakti. He also said that flag of women power is flying high in New India from Panchayat Bhavan to Rashtrapati Bhavan. Speaking on his birthday, Prime Minister Modi said he enjoyed the blessing of lakhs of mothers and described women as his biggest strength and inspiration.
महिला उद्यमियों को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए, उनके लिए नई संभावनाएं बनाने के लिए हमारी सरकार निरंतर काम कर रही है। वन डिस्ट्रिक्ट वन प्रोडक्ट के माध्यम से हम हर जिले के लोकल उत्पादों को बड़े बाजारों तक पहुंचाने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Saturday gave the mantra of skilling, reskilling and upskilling to the country's youth. He exhorted them to innovate and continuously upgrade their skills in line with the evolving times. In a virtual address at the first ever convocation of ITI students, Prime Minister said the centre is going to open more than 5,000 new skill hubs to promote skill development in India. He highlighted that job opportunities in the country are also rising with the advancement of technology.
इस दौर में भारत की सफलता में औद्योगिक प्रशिक्षण संस्थानों आईटीआई की भी बड़ी भूमिका है. बदलते हुए समय में नेचर ऑफ जॉब भी बदल रहे हैं. इसलिए सरकार ने इस बात का विशेष ध्यान रखा है कि हमारी आईटीआईज में पढ़ने वाले स्टूडेंट्स को हर आधुनिक कोर्स की सुविधा भी मिले.
Union Home Minister Amit Shah inaugurated the year-long celebrations of Hyderabad Liberation Day at the parade grounds in Hyderabad. Amit Shah hoisted the national flag on the occasion. He also received a guard of honor from the paramilitary forces. He also paid rich tributes to India's first Home Minister, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, for his efforts in making Hyderabad a part of India. Speaking on the occasion, he said it is unfortunate that Hyderabad Liberation Day has not been celebrated officially all these years in Telangana due to vote bank politics. He also thanked Prime Minister Narendra Modi for deciding to organize official celebrations on 17th of September. Hyderabad state, which was under Nizam rule, merged with the Indian Union on 17 September 1948.
आज के तीनों राज्य कर्नाटक, महाराष्ट्र और तेलंगाना के पूरा राज्य के सभी नागरिकों को हैदराबाद मुक्ति दिन की बहुत बहुत बधाई देना चाहता हूं और इनको विश्वास दिलाना चाहता हूं. कोई मनाए न मनाए, भारत सरकार खुली छाती के साथ, हिम्मत के साथ हैदराबाद मुक्ति दिन मनाएगी.
India-Singapore ministerial roundtable was held in Delhi on Saturday to boost economic cooperation between the two countries. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman and Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal took part in the meeting with their Singapore counterparts. They discussed ways to enhance cooperation between the two countries in emerging and futuristic areas. Singaporean Deputy Prime Minister Lawrence Wong also participated in the meeting. Both sides deliberated upon a wide range of issues, including financial sector operations, fintech, regulatory cooperation, investment opportunities, and current economic arrangements. The foreign trade policy of India was amended on Friday. The government has introduced a new paragraph stating the new rules. The latest changes allow for international trade, invoicing, payment, and settlement in Indian rupees. The move activates the Reserve Bank of India's mechanism to facilitate trade in Indian currency. The move has come into effect on an immediate basis. The RBI said that in invoicing, all exports and imports under this arrangement may be denominated and invoiced in rupee. The exchange rate between the currencies of the two trading partner countries will be market determined, and the settlement of trade transactions under this arrangement shall take place in rupees. Now, other news from across the nation. The Ministry of Road Transport and Highways has allowed Aadhaar authentication for 58 citizen-centric services related to driving license, vehicle registration and transfer of ownership. The authentication is on voluntary basis. The ministry said that providing such services in a contactless and faceless manner would go a long way in saving critical time of citizens while easing their compliance burden. President Draupadi Murmu, Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar, Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla, Union Ministers Amit Shah, Rajnath Singh and Nirmala Sitharaman and other BJP leaders on Saturday greeted Prime Minister Narendra Modi on his 72nd birthday. Extending her wishes, President Draupadi Murmu said she hoped The nation-building campaign being carried out by Prime Minister Modi would continue to progress under his leadership. A 15-day blood donation camp, Raktdan Amrit Mahotsav, was started on Prime Minister Modi's birthday. Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia donated blood at Delhi's Safdarjung Hospital. The minister urged citizens to register on the Arogya Setu app or e-Rakt Kosh portal to donate blood as part of the Raktdan Amrit Mahotsav, which will be held till October 1st, which is the National Voluntary Blood Donation Day. The fourth iteration of the e-auction of noteworthy presents given to Prime Minister Modi has started on Saturday and is being held by the Minister of Culture till October 2nd. The auction features paintings, sculptures, handmade items and folk artifacts as mementos. Around 1,200 gifts presented to Prime Minister are under the hammer. Interested people can bid through a web portal set up for the purpose. Now time for a short break in the bulletin. On the other side, thousands of mourners braved biting cold in London to pay last respects to the Queen.
Journey of India's 75 years of independence, protection of rights, ensuring equality, to empower, to deliver justice. Laws that have defined India and its people, laws that everyone should know. Watch 75 years, laws that shaped India. With me, Hemant Batra, only on Sansad TV.
Welcome back to the news. It's time for updates from the Russia-Ukraine battlefront. The UN General Assembly has voted to allow Ukraine's president to deliver a virtual address to next week's gathering of world leaders. The exception has been made considering his need to deal with Russia's invasion. The 193-member world body approved Volodymyr Zelensky's virtual address by a vote of 101 to 7, with 19 abstentions, including China. Russia's setbacks and stretched resources show its forces are not capable of achieving President Vladimir Putin's initial aims in invading Ukraine, the Pentagon's intelligence chief said on Friday. Lieutenant General Scott Berrier, Director of Defense Intelligence Agency, said that the war is at a point where Putin would have to revise his objectives for the operation. Berrier said that the Russians planned for an occupation, not necessarily an invasion, and that has set them back. Ukrainian officials have said they found hundreds of bodies, some with hands tied behind their backs and showing signs of torture, buried in territory recaptured from Russian forces. The mass grave near the recently retaken city of Izium appears to be one of the largest discovered in Ukraine. Calling them proof of war crimes, Zelensky said more than 440 graves have been found at the site, but the number of victims was not yet known. A UN ship left Ukraine's Kornomok's Black Sea port with around 30,000 tons of wheat on board for Ethiopia. The Ikara Angel is the third vessel chartered by the United Nations World Food Programme. The transport is part of the Black Sea Grain Initiative, a July deal brokered with Russia, Turkey and United Nations that allowed Ukrainian grain export to resume from the country's Black Sea ports. Here are today's global updates. China once again blocked a proposal by the US and India to blacklist Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorist Sajid Mir at the United Nations. This is Beijing's third such move in 4 months. Beijing blocked a US proposal to blacklist Mir as a global terrorist under the UN Security Council's 1267 Al-Qaeda Sanctions Committee. India supported the proposal that seeks to attach Mir's properties and impose travel and arms restrictions on him. Terrorist Sajid Mir is one of the most wanted terrorists by India and the main conspirator of 2008 Mumbai attacks. Thousands of people came to lay flowers at the gates of Windsor Castle on Saturday as the town prepared for Queen Elizabeth's burial on Monday. The Crown Estate's operations manager in Windsor said they estimated around 1 lakh would visit on both Saturday and Sunday. Take a look.
Thousands of people spent London's coldest night in months huddled in line to view the coffin of Queen Elizabeth II, with authorities warning on Saturday that arriving mourners face a 24-hour wait.
It was 12 and a half hours and it was pretty cold, about 3 o'clock, but otherwise survived it. I'm very pleased to do so.
For many of those queuing for almost 8 kilometers, it was a modest gesture of gratitude for a woman who served as monarch for 70 years. But it was not only duty-bound Brits who took on the challenge to say goodbye to the Queen.
We arrived and it was the change of the guard as well, so it was very solemn and very moving.
The tide of people wanting to say goodbye to the Queen has grown steadily since the public was first admitted to the hall on Wednesday. Overnight, volunteers distributed blankets and cups of tea to people in line as the temperature fell to 6 degrees Celsius.
It was cold overnight, but we had wonderful companions, met new friends. The camaraderie was wonderful. It was just delightful, yeah. But it's worth it. Do it again and again and again. Walk to the end of the earth for my Queen.
The lying in state is due to continue until Monday morning, when the Queen's coffin will be borne to nearby Westminster Abbey for a state funeral, the finale to 10 days of national mourning for Britain's longest reigning monarch. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
In more global news, Oktoberfest is back in Germany after 2 years of pandemic cancellations. People were seen rushing to get seats in Oktoberfest venues after the gates were opened early on Saturday. Munich's mayor declared the event open at noon in the Bavarian dialect, but the Bavarian capital's tourist centerpiece is facing pressure from inflation in a way unimaginable since the last time it was held in 2019. A wildfire raging since Monday in southwestern France prompted authorities to evacuate 500 people on Wednesday, bringing the total to over 1,000 in an area already hit this summer by huge blazes. 1,000 firefighters and 11 aircraft are battling the fire that has burned more than 3,600 hectares and destroyed 4 houses and several buildings in the wine-growing Medoc area. The US Justice Department on Friday asked a federal appeals court to let it resume reviewing classified material seized in an FBI search of former President Donald Trump's Florida estate. In the filing before the US Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit, the Justice Department said the Circuit Court should halt part of the lower court decision that prevents prosecutors from relying on the classified documents in their criminal investigation. Hundreds of volunteers took part in a mass cleanup drive along the Manila Bay on Saturday to mark the International Coastal Cleanup Day. Government workers and volunteers collected sachets, rubber slippers and other non-biodegradable waste that have been wasted ashore. The Philippines is the planet's #1 polluter when it comes to releasing plastic waste into the ocean, accounting for 36% of the total inputs globally, according to reports. The Phantom of the Opera, the longest-running show on Broadway, is set to close on 18 February 2023 due to a sharp drop in ticket sales. Phantom is a staple within the Broadway world with over 70 major theatre wins and 13,733 performances since its debut in 1988. Despite its legacy, the show was losing $1 million a month. The musical will celebrate its 35th anniversary in January. Now look at today's sports stories. Shane Bond, the bowling coach at Mumbai Indians in the IPL since 2015, a job he will continue to do, has been named head coach of Mumbai Indians Emirates, the Mumbai Indians' own team in UAE's International League T20. Kumar Ramanathan and Prajnesh Guneshwaran lost their respective singles matches against Norway's Viktor Durasovic and world number 2 Casper Ruud in the Davis Cup Group 1 tie on Friday. After losing the T20 International Series by 1-2, the Indian women's cricket team will have to drastically lift its game and give a fitting farewell to veteran Julian Goswami in the ODI series against England beginning at home on Sunday. India crashed out of the SAFF Women's Championship after a 0-1 defeat at the hands of host Nepal in the semi-finals played in Kathmandu. Aston Villa eased the pressure on under-fire boss Steven Gerrard with a 1-0 win over Southampton on Friday as the Premier League returned following the death of Queen Elizabeth II. That's all in today's The News. Keep watching Sansad Television for more updates. Good night.